This Dipti is here. The paper's going to go crack on with them immediately. Reactions in Zimbabwe to Robert Mugabe's resignation.
Reactions of joy, overwhelmingly, Stuart. The editors at the Zimbabwean paper, The Chronicle, are rejoicing in his resignation. Mugabe's biggest mistake, they say, was his bid to crush all opposition to make way for his wife to be his eventual successor. Well, now they're all gone, and the paper says, quote, "We state here that no one, absolutely no one, cares that they are gone." Now, from another Zimbabwean paper, The Herald, they hail the dawn of a new era, a new beginning for the country. They wish all the best for Emmerson Mnangagwa, who might be the country's next leader, adding that he has the best wishes of all Zimbabweans, at least for today, noting the use of "at least for today."
Yeah, because there are some question marks, aren't there, about his past as well?
Well, Le Monde, the French paper, is actually has delved into his past. This man, of course, is known as the crocodile. He's a pure product of a generation formed in the anti-colonial fight, much like Robert Mugabe. And in fact, the two men were quite close. They met during that guerrilla fight against British colonizers. Mnangagwa served for a long time as Mugabe's enforcer and oversaw notoriously a brutal massacre in the 1980s. Now, still, there are hopes from Zimbabweans that the end of Mugabe will herald a new era, not just in Zimbabwe, but in Africa, because this Slate writer actually reminds us that earlier this year, Angola's long-term leader also left power. It feels like a generational shift. That's what Joshua Keating says. Let's hope the next generation reigns better and shorter.
Of course, making headlines right around the world. Take us through a few of them, can you?
Well, let's start with the Swazi Observer. World shocker, Mugabe resigns. That's what the Swaziland paper says. While Die Burger, which is a South African Afrikaans paper, says, "Joy in the streets as Zimbabweans say, bye, Bob." That really doesn't need much translation, does it? Finally, a clever pun-filled headline. We love pun-filled headlines here from the British paper Metro. Hip, hip, Harare.
Very clever. Nicely done. Let's move to Lebanon now. The Prime Minister, Saad Hariri, is back home in time to celebrate Independence Day amid this ongoing political crisis there.
And the big question is, will his resignation be confirmed? That's what L'Orient Le Jour, a French-language Lebanese paper, wonders on its front page. Another daily paper, the Daily Star, really takes aim at Iran, calling it a double standard. This is in the editorial. Calling it a double standard that Iran has criticized Paris for intervening in the regional conflict when, I quote, "Tehran intervenes not just in Lebanese sovereignty, but Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and Libya." Of course, this all comes as this Wednesday marks the Lebanese Independence Day. For the paper, it's a celebration of this mature country's capacity to govern itself. That's what Lebanon needs right now, to be left alone, essentially. And the question is, can Lebanon really weather this regional storm? As you see in this cartoon here, a map of Lebanon holding an umbrella in the form of the cedar tree, looking pretty worried with unity spelled out on that umbrella.
Let's go from that to a scandal for you now on the programme. This is a Bollywood scandal. It's become a big political problem in India, hasn't it?
This is a huge scandal, if not for the fact that a member of the ruling BJP party, that's Narendra Modi's, the Prime Minister, his own nationalist party, well, one of the politicians has offered a €1 million reward or bounty, if you like, in exchange for beheading a Bollywood actress called Deepika Padukone.
Wow,
now,
shocking.
the party has tried to distance itself from the beheading comments. The scandal is over a new film that she stars in called Padmavati, which is based on a legendary poem. Now, it explores a relationship between a Hindu queen played by Padukone and a 14th century Muslim ruler. In the film, there are suggestions that they have a romantic relationship, and Hindu nationalists are up in arms over this, saying it totally distorts history. The film's December 1st release has been delayed now, but obviously not before this bounty was offered up by a politician, which has prompted one writer in an Indian paper, Deccan Chronicle, to wonder if we're becoming an intolerant society. The writer says the one reassuring outcome from this saga is the gradual growth of the counter-narrative coming from ordinary citizens who've been quick to condemn this escalation of violence.
Yeah. Fascinating story. Finally, going to end with a story out of Kazakhstan. Now, this is a country perhaps best known, I'm going to be slightly controversial here, for the film Borat.
That was my intro, so I'll take credit for it.
I didn't write that.
Kazakhstan is perhaps known, among other things, for the film Borat, Sacha Baron Cohen's film. When it first came out, well, Kazakhstan complained that it portrayed the country in a negative way and that his hapless alter ego Borat was insulting. Well, they actually ended up thanking him because he brought so much tourism to the country.
Even dressed like that?
Even dressed like that.
Okay.
It appears that this is where they draw a hard lime green line, it appears. A group of Czech men visited the country wearing this infamous mankini. They were arrested in the capital, Astana, and fined collectively about 400 euros. Vice reports that Sacha Baron Cohen, the man who portrayed Borat, has generously offered to pay the fine in a Facebook post he wrote to his, quote, Czech mates.
Ah, very nice. Sacha Baron Cohen, hopefully putting an end on that story. Thanks a lot, Titi, with the papers.